Hello, welcome to Pass the Mic. It's episode 153. I'm your host, Mike Gervasi, with me alongside my pal, Mike Piotti.
Changing things up a little bit. Mike's starting up the show.
I
Hello, we're
threw
on
everybody
Zoom.
off with this one. I was
I
totally
know.
fumbling
Ren
there.
Dog. I hope the Ren Dog's all right.
Yeah, don't turn the channel, guys. All right, real quick before we I forgot the date, Mike, March 7th. I'm gonna get blasted for that. And I got a
Yes.
dog barking in the background.
There we go.
Um, so all right, with us, our special guest this week. I'm gonna let you briefly introduce yourself. We have Adriana Sorella, a former student of ours who I ran into at a conference recently where Senator Gary Peters was speaking. Adriana, how are you?
Good. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Thanks for being on. Can you just briefly introduce yourself and we'll get a lot deeper here as the show goes on?
Yeah, I'm Adriana Sorella. I am a Carlson alumni. I graduated in 2014, and I am currently the owner of Lucy's Beauty Boutique in Allen Park, and I am also running for Wyandotte City Council. So I'm
Okay.
excited
Excellent.
to be here.
Good, good. Mike, you want to start with some feedback?
We had a lot of feedback. You mentioned Allen Park. We had a lot of feedback on the overrated, underrated cities last week. Okay. A lot of people like my underrated Flat Rock, little small town feel and all that stuff. That got some plugs. Gary Bailey, however, was not happy. And he got into a little bit of semantics and he gave us a long description of the difference between a city and a township. And he said we were a little too hard on both Groseal and Brownstown because they're not really cities. I'm not going to get into the geography lesson. We get it. Everything was a township till cities were cut out of them. He did like my Amtrak trip though out to Seattle and
Yeah, he
listed all
did.
the
He did.
things I could do. So he's very big on that. The streets of Taylor were a big discussion.
Yeah.
The Eureka, the Eureka Telegraph, and then yours was Beach Daily, right?
No, not Beach Day. It was Party.
Oh, RD. I'm sorry.
You being funny? Because that wasn't funny.
When you hear of Taylor, when you think of the city of Taylor, what street do you think of first, Adriana? No
Oh,
pressure, no pressure.
party.
Oh,
Ah,
man.
that's what I'm talking about. That's why you're here. All right.
Danielle, our former guest, Danielle Albeck, really liked that I mentioned the Gibraltar Trade Center as the Washington Monument, too, by the way, the
Yeah.
Washington
Oh,
Monument of Taylor. So that was some feedback there. I want to make sure I get all this. Denise Browning mentioned her trip to Spain, which, by the way, when my daughter is in Portugal currently, when this comes out, she'll be making her way back to Madrid as a great place to visit. Her airfare was even better. She listed some prices. I wish I would have had her book my travel. So that's mine. What else do you have?
Okay, I got Antoine. Liam Neeson is one of your favorites. Dude has been typecasted. All his rules are the same, but I digress. Antoine is afraid of the Pates. He said, much love to the Pates. I don't want any smoke. So those are Antoine's two things. By the way, Elizabeth Pate, I know she listens faithfully. You're gonna love this episode. You and Adriana really, really would get along in terms of some of the things you both concern yourselves with. So I'm just throwing it out there right now. Max, overrated Trenton. They want to be Groseal so bad. So I thought that was kind of funny. Is there a community that has a worse waterfront than Trenton? So Max is really going after Trenton this week.
He was taking no prisoners.
He didn't like my AP overrated, underrated. Didn't like how I waffled there, having
Yeah,
them
either
both
did the
as
Ren Dog. The Ren Dog got on you for that.
he did now. But I did hear from others, quite a few people that did not know about that second Allen Park Street Fair. Kent Sakura did though, but a lot of people didn't. So that was my whole point.
what's
Took a
the
little
second
heat.
Allen Park Street Fair? The Michigan made?
They do like a food thing like right in September, early September, early to mid September, I should say. And it's just the weather's nice. It's not as big as the street fair. It's not the all the Allen Park.
I think it's the Michigan made,
Is that what it's
correct?
called? Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't know what it's
Hmm.
called. I've just been
Yeah.
there the last 2 years. Some of my friends and I go. There's not the Allen Park arrogance that's oozing from there. It's just
Yeah.
very, very you agree with the Allen Park arrogance then.
Well,
He's got
you
to
guys
well,
tread
love
lightly
so
here.
uh,
my business is right on Allen Road.
okay.
So we have to shut down for all of those
Oh,
events. Yeah, because there's no parking.
Yeah.
oh, I see. Okay.
You also took
Not
some heat, Mike. You also took some heat for not knowing the glass onion from Kent
What?
yeah.
Sakura. I know he thought
Yeah.
it was a bar.
Yeah, Elizabeth Pate thought my mic choice was a good play on words. What I did last week was a Wu-Tang song lyric. So the mic of the week was I leave the mic in body bags. I thought that was clever. Others didn't like it so much, but the Pates did. They got the Wu-Tang tickets. Chris did not like Taylor's two main roles are Telegraph and Eureka. Gervasi is a goof for saying Pardee, so he didn't like that one. And I think that's about it. Yeah, that's it. So that's
Yeah, the cities
my
and
feedback.
towns got a lot of traction.
Yeah.
That was a heck. I mean, I wonder what this week's overrated underrated is going to do. I don't know if there's going to be as much. I don't know. People can be possessive about that
You
type of
never
thing,
know.
so we'll
Yeah.
find out. Keep you
Yep.
hooked for later. All right, we have a guest. That means it's time for our stock questions that we sort of help our guest introduce themselves with a little bit. So, Adriana, it is your birthday. When is your birthday? We do this every time too. Are
You're
we
gonna love
close?
it. It's
Uh-oh.
February 29th. It's leap year.
Oh, a leap
Oh,
year. Holy cow. We can't even use remember we did the jokes about, hey, I know somebody. I only know one person, other person.
wow.
Yeah, it's leap
Very
year. I'm a
cool.
leap year baby. So it
Nice.
just technically passed.
So what do you
Yeah.
March 1st, February 28th, whatever's the better
February
day?
28th. I'm a
Okay.
February 28th girl.
Okay.
I think I love February, so that's when my birthday was. So I
All
don't
right.
think March 1st is my birthday. Me
There
and
you
my
go.
family fight over this. Okay. They try to tell me my birthday all the time.
Wow. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that flexibility. Like if it's, if all of a sudden the
Well, I
28th
actually
is a
do celebrate both days, February
yeah.
28th and March
Very
1st. So
nice.
I take happy birthdays on both days.
There you go. Well, with that, you can have any meal you'd like, out to eat, cook by hand. What is that meal going to be?
Okay, this was hard for me. I had to talk to my husband about this because I was like, I don't know. I don't
Hmm.
know. So he said lamb chops. I love
All
lamb
right.
chops, and
There
he's
you go.
right. But I also want to be somewhere downtown Detroit eating lamb chops.
Okay. So out to
That's
eat with them.
Yes, out to eat, a fancy restaurant downtown Detroit. I just went to Sexy Steak in
Okay.
Detroit and I had the lamb chops there.
All
So
right.
he's
Nice.
right. He's right.
Anything and any side with that? Lamb chops is a good like out to eat one too, because I think it's a tough thing to make at home.
It's a tough thing in general, and sometimes restaurants just can't even nail it. But
Yeah.
Sexy Steak was good.
All right.
So I was happy with that. And besides anything potato, like
All right. Nice.
any type of potato.
All right. Very good.
Before I ask my question, I just got to say I went to Carrabba's. I tried something new a couple weeks ago at a steak, and it was not the. I'm a Carrabba's fan, but it was terrible. I went last week for Melina's birthday, my daughter, and got lamb chops, and they were very good. Like, I thought
Really
Carrabba's
good
did a
to
good job.
know.
Yeah,
And
so
you're
Yeah.
that's rare for you. You're not two red meat meals that quick.
I'm falling
You're
off the
living on
wagon.
the edge.
I am. I am. I don't know what the cholesterol numbers are, so they're probably good, right?
Probably better than mine.
Yeah. All right, Adriana, you can have dinner with one person. The lamb chops. Who are you eating with?
Okay. I had a hard time with this too. But I actually chose two people. I chose a living person and then somebody that's dead.
You're the
Is that
guest. It's
okay?
totally yeah.
You make your own
So
rules.
so honestly, my husband is the living person,
All right.
100%. Um, his name's Frank. And my husband was like my best friend before we started dating for years. And we always went out to eat together. And actually, the one restaurant we always went to, the owner was like, you guys are going to be married one day, I
Hmm.
swear. And I'm also somebody that like eats way too many appetizers. And then when I get my food, I'm like, I'm stuffed. I can't finish this. And he's like, don't worry. And he eats it for me.
Oh, there you go. Yes, that's not
So I really appreciate going out to eat with him.
that's
Now,
great.
can I just interrupt you real quick? When you said that, my husband, all I could hear was the television show, the collective
Yeah.
audience.
We don't have our sound effect
We
board
don't have
here.
the sound
I know I
effects,
was like,
so
this is kind of cliche, but it's the truth. I can't
that's
lie
cool.
about
That's cool. That's awesome.
But I did choose somebody that's not living because I was very torn between my husband and my grandfather who passed away from COVID back in
Oh no.
2020. So he was an amazing person, and we always went to Mi Pueblo every birthday. And if I could go to Mi Pueblo with him one more time, I would fully love that.
Great choices. Great
Great.
choices.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Hmm.
Yep.
Sorry to hear that too. That's
Yes.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Adriana, do you have a mic of the week?
Okay, I did choose the mic of the week. I chose the first mic that came to my brain. And you have to remember, I am a business person. I'm majoring in business, and I chose Michael Scott.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Cool.
I don't know if that was ever chosen before on the show.
It
I
doesn't
don't
matter
think
if a
so.
guest
Yeah,
has.
we
I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
think we do, but that's fine.
right.
It's
Okay.
just fun. I
Okay.
haven't watched it in a while, but it's been on E, and my wife had it on the last 2 days when I got home from
I
work,
just
and then it's still funny.
I just feel like he's kind of he's an underrated character because he starts out like so hateable and people can't stand him, and he really turns out to be an actual leader in the company, and he really cared about his employees, and that's like he tried so hard to care about his employees that he turned out to be a jerk sometimes, but that's why I do love him. I watched every single episode from start to finish.
Yeah, if you start watching it, like in the ones that were on, it was when Dwight left and he went to Staples, and he realized how like he was the one that would water the plant and arrange his stuff. Little things like that you realize,
Yeah.
he did like his people. There's little things, and of course, I think
Yeah.
the one that stands out the most is when he went to Pam's art show. Like he was the only one that was like,
I was just about to say that Pam's
yeah,
art show, and he bought the picture of the building and hung it up in the office. And
yeah,
then when he left and started his own paper company, he did have people leave with him because
yeah,
people loved him. Hmm.
yeah. Good, good
Yeah.
call, good call.
All right. So first off, I gotta say we switched this up. This is it's different. And I gotta let the listener know that Mike, you do a really good job of like your command of narrating and those things. That's really good.
You're doing
And
fine. You're doing fine. Don't
that's
worry.
fine.
Just keep it
I
going.
just I've learned it whenever, once in a while when I have to do the announcements at school. It's not easy,
No,
so you
but you're
do
doing great.
do good work. Thank you. So, Adriana, we're gonna get transition now to the education topic. So, like I said, as I mentioned earlier, I ran into you at a event sponsored by the local legislative forum with Chamber of Commerce and here
Yeah, it was the South. I
Southeast
can't hear you. Yes.
S
The
SCLC, something like
can,
that. Are we?
can we say it? The
Yeah,
Southern
go ahead.
Wayne
Yeah,
Chamber.
Some Wayne
yeah.
Chamber. There we go. There we
Yeah.
go. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And your story was just fascinating. I remember you. I had you as a freshman. The class we had was a rough group. You stood out in a positive way. It was wonderful. But then your story was just, and we always spoke for probably 2 or 3 or 5 minutes, and your story was captivating. I'm like, we have to have you on. So, do you want to talk about your journey from high school to where you are now, and we'll get to we'll start with your business, and then we'll get to the
Yeah.
other two things after.
Yeah. So I went to Carlson. I I can't even remember. It's funny because you told me the story about how I stuck out in your class, and I said to you, I was like, wow, that makes me feel really good because I did not feel like teachers loved me at Carlson. I'm not gonna
Mm,
lie.
hmm
So it made me feel really good to hear that. But I think that's just myself that felt that way, not the actual situation I had, and at Carlson. So I actually ended up dropping out of Carlson my senior year. Um, I did live up, I had a toxic home life, and I was going through a lot of mental health issues in high school. And I didn't even know what they were because I was a teenager and I didn't know that I was living kind of this toxic life at home. Unfortunately, my parents tried their best, but they had things to work on. And my junior year, uh, going into the summer of junior year, so after, I ended up leaving my house because it was so draining mentally to live in the house that I lived in. Um, so I moved out. I packed all my things. I didn't even have a room to live in at my house, I'll say that. So I was living in a common area, and I decided to pack my things while my parents were at work, and I left. Um, I was going to be 18 that February. So it was like 6 months before I turned 18. So going into my senior year, I lived in an apartment with a friend of mine, and he was great to let me live with him until I could afford to get my own place. Uh, I had Tori Kurtzels. I don't know if you guys remember her. She came a little later in high school. She picked me up from Riverview every single day so that I could go to school. And by Christmas break of senior year, I found out that I needed a few more credits to graduate. So I wasn't going to be graduating with my 2014 class. And I was also going to school every day, and I would come home from school, get ready, and go to work until 8 o'clock, and then go back home, go to sleep, go to school. Uh, so I decided I needed to drop out of high school, Christmas break. So I made it so far. And when I dropped out of high school, I did get my GED immediately. And I was working in a salon, my mom's salon, actually. She owned a salon for a little while. And um, I asked my mom, because I was the receptionist at the time, and I asked her, can I start doing nails here? Can I learn how to get my manicurist license? Can I take an apprenticeship? Please, I don't live with you anymore. And like, please help me out in this aspect so I can start making money. So, and she said yes, of course. And I don't know if you guys know, but you only have to pass the 10th grade to become a cosmetologist in the state of Michigan.
Okay.
hmm So I got my manicurist license. I started doing nails. I would do nails from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then I'd go waitress from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. at a local bar. And basically, I just worked as hard as I could, and I was able to get my own apartment. So that was exciting. And and then finally, after a couple of years of doing nails, I gained a clientele, and I was able to just do nails for work. I didn't have to work in restaurants and waitress anymore. So, right when I got my clientele, I was about 19 years old, and my mom came to me and she said, "Hey, I'm not going to do this anymore. I don't want to own a salon anymore, and I want to become a nurse." And I said, okay, sounds good. But what am I going to do? And she said, I don't know, figure it out. And I was like, okay. So I was 19 years old and I decided to open my own salon. I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to dive right into this. I honestly had no clue what I was doing. I'm not going to lie. I did help my mom a lot with the salon. So I did know I've been there since I was 15, so I had been there for 5 years at this point almost. So um, I found a building in Allen Park, and I called the number that was on the sign, and she called me back like an hour later, and I was like, let's meet up. She met with me. I told her my plan. I'm this young 20-year-old girl. I had no credit. I had an apartment, but I had no credit or anything. And I told her, I said, please just take a chance on me. Like, I promise you, I will pay my rent on time and I will do this the right way. And now I've been there for 9 years. So she said yes. And I opened the salon and I trained some girls and I had some girls come with me from my mom's salon. I saved up a lot of money to do this, by the way. This wasn't just I didn't have any money. I saved up a lot of money to be able to do this, and I took out a little loan. So I did pay off my loan within the first 2 years, which was really exciting. And I opened the salon. So then fast forward to 9 years later, um, I'm actually relocating right now.
Oh,
I recently have bought a building on North Line and Electric. It's like technically Ford Ave in Wyandotte, and it's 1,000 square foot bigger. And all my girls are coming with me, and we're moving into a brand new building. I got it 10 months ago, and they've been building. it from the ground up. It actually used to be a motorcycle club,
Oh,
and it's been vacant for 20 years. So I'm super excited to have the big reveal actually this month.
It's
So
oh,
this
how
month. I was
exciting.
just going to ask when it was. Okay.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So
I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, I'm just so
I
Right.
impressed. There's so
know.
much I'm impressed with, but I'm thinking like we've had previous episodes where we talk about like 18, 19, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 year olds afraid to call and make an appointment for like a doctor or
Yeah.
to get their hair cut. And here's a 19, 20-year old that saw a number in a building saying, "Hey, I want this building." We got kids that won't even make an appointment or go talk to
Right.
somebody
Yeah.
face to face. I mean, that just says a lot about the person you were. You know, and then like you said, like the decisions you had to make, and
Yes.
the work that you had to do, the double shifts, you know, the working with your mom during the day and then continuing through the evening. I mean, at 19, I can't even imagine like what my biggest investment was at 19.
Yeah.
No, I
And
mean,
and
going to
it
Canada, the bars at Jokers,
Yeah,
I mean, that,
I've
I
never
was
been to
nervous.
Canada.
I was nervous like transferring my money over
Yeah, yeah.
at the exchange counter. But that's a great story. And also, so can I did the building in Allen Park? So you actually bought that building, or was it like a lease? Because it was, or was it a
It's
lease?
I lease my buildings. I
Lease.
do.
That
I like this building in Wyandotte. I have a partner who owns the
okay.
building.
That's yeah,
Hmm.
and that's understandable. That's a big
Yeah.
undertaking when you're,
sure.
especially for a business like that. But still, it's still a big deal. Like to call up and inquire about that as a 19-year-old, and it's cool that
Yeah.
that person gave you the chance to actually do that. Because how many people would do that?
Yeah. Well,
With
I will say this was 2016, and this was right after a lot of things had tanked.
yeah,
Hmm.
So Allen Park was not what it is now.
hmm
Um, my rent was like $800 a month
yeah, it's
there.
crazy.
Um, and it it really was not, there was not a lot of businesses in that area at that time. And it's actually really funny that you brought up Glass Onion because it's right across the street from my salon.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
And
You got
Ken Sikora actually told me about it and the owner.
yeah. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I said, Gibraltar, it's a great great place to grab for you, like breakfast, lunch,
Yeah.
whatever there. So
So let me, Adriana, if you don't mind, let's come back to high school for a minute. I want
Yeah. Yeah.
to, do you care to elaborate a little bit more on the mental health issues you were experiencing? And then more than that, we do get some student listeners now. I know that because some of the kids tell me in class. What advice can you offer those students that might be struggling with these types of issues?
So I'll just say this. I had parents that fought often. I'll say that. And I was very sad, very depressed. I had a lot of anxiety. So I, I'm I'm in therapy. I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I think that's great. And one thing my therapist told me was, you didn't ever give up on yourself. The people that were supposed to take care of you at that age gave up on you. And that like kind of hit me really hard because I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Because you're not supposed to take care of yourself when you're 15, 16, 17. Uh, you always need help from an adult. I I'm huge on that. Like I have a son now, he's 3 years old, and when he is 15, when he's in high school, he's not an adult. He's still my child. And I will always make sure that his mental health is okay. But a lot of people don't have those types of parents, unfortunately.
Sure.
And like I said, my parents did the best that they could. They had a lot of trauma growing up, and unfortunately, it trickled into my life. And it wasn't my fault, and I made it my fault. So I started turning to negative ways of coping, and that became a depression. And I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to
Sure.
just sleep
escape.
and, escape. Yeah, exactly. And my advice is to really, if there's a teacher that you really enjoy and love and that you feel like you can confidently trust, and if you want to talk to them about this, please do that. Like,
Okay.
please go to who you have resources. If you have a grandparent, my grandparents were great. They helped me so much. especially during those times of my life because they knew what was going on. And reach out to your grandparent that you can talk to. Any adult that you think you're never too old to reach out to somebody that's elder. Like even now, I will reach out to people who are older than me and be like, "Hey, I need your advice. I need to know how you feel about this, you know?" And I actually told you guys there was a special teacher for me, and he was great. And it's really funny because it was Kent Sikora.
Oh man, wait till if he
Oh
listens,
boy.
we're gonna hear this. He's
Yeah.
gonna.
Yeah.
And in seventh grade, I believe it was seventh grade, he was my English teacher. And I didn't care too much about homework at that time. And he told me, oh my God, it's gonna make me cry. He said, I know that you're smart. I know that you are, and I know that you do good. And I know that you're gonna be somebody one day. And I'll
That's
never forget
awesome.
it because he just
Yeah.
made me feel so good. He was a teacher that knew that I had potential in me. And I have him on Facebook and I keep up with him. And I think I've even told him this, that
Well,
stuck with me for life.
that's
So
great to hear.
I really
And
appreciate that.
he listens pretty early, so he'll get head to into that. I want picking back on what she was saying. I think it's important that we as staff members, Mike and I know this, and this is why that you can't be quick to um, you know, say, oh, this person's a loser or this person's never
Yeah.
going to amount to anything. And Kent didn't do that for you. And Mike and I
Mhm.
know this. Mike and I, we know that not everyone comes from the same household every morning. And most of our coworkers, I think, know this. There's a lot of people not in education that don't know this. And they wonder why isn't every kid a 4.0 student or an
Sure.
honor student? Or,
Yeah.
why does there have to be free universal lunch? There has to be because you don't for every 7 kids that are eating 3 meals at home, there's another 3 or 4 that are not at all. So you know what? Let's just blanket them all. And your comment about finding an adult, I know in our building, if they go to somebody, even if that person doesn't feel comfortable or can handle that, they're not just going to avoid it. They're going to go find another person that can handle it. And that's how I like to. Wouldn't you agree, Mike? Like if someone came to you that maybe you didn't have the strongest relationship, or even
I'm
came to
finding
you with
somebody.
something,
Yeah.
if somebody that I couldn't answer it, I would be like, okay, well, this person in counseling will know this. This person's social worker or Kelly Sims, who's always running around helping people
Sure.
with stuff. No one's ever going to be like, you know what? I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of two things. They're either going to be that step to help you, or they're going to get you to where you need to go for that help.
Yes. And I think it's scary too, as a child, like as a kid,
Oh yeah.
and being 15 and you're just growing into yourself and you don't even know what's to come yet. I think it's scary to even talk to an adult and to ask an adult for help, but it's actually helpful. Like that
Yes.
would actually help you.
No, and
And we
I had a conversation literally today with my oldest about like, when's the first time you realized your parents were human? And it took us a lot of different directions, but it brought me back to my parents. It was without getting too deep here, it was somewhat of a messy divorce in seventh and eighth grade. For the kid listening, you don't know these teachers that you see every day have probably encountered a lot of the things that you might be experiencing and can offer a lot of insights and a lot of advice that could be super helpful. So I'm so glad you said that. Um, there's times where I'm not comfortable with certain things, but I absolutely will find people. But I can guarantee you I've experienced a lot of things that can at least some wisdom that can be passed on to the younger generations.
Yeah.
we talk about, and I know Mike met you at the chamber meeting. Can you talk
Yeah.
about your other the other aspects that you're working on? You're involved in policy. You work with one of our former guests, Darren
Yes.
Camilleri. You want to talk a little bit about some of the other things you do?
So, yeah, in 2022, I believe it was, Roe v. Wade was overturned, and I was pretty upset about it. So, me and some of my good friends, one of them is Kelly Newbecker. She's amazing. She's actually my lawyer. She texted me and she said, "Hey, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "Let's start a group. Let's rally. Let's go protest what's going on." And so we made a page and it got we have over 3,400 members in our group page, and we had 1,000, I think, people show up to our rally to protest that in 2022. We had Channel 4, Channel 7 there. We were in Wyandotte, we were in Bishop Park, and we peacefully protested. And we had great leaders show up to that. We had Debbie Dingle show up. I don't know if you guys have heard Debbie Dingle speak. I'm sure you have, but she is a great leader. She
Mhm.
definitely is somebody that knows what they're talking about. We had Darren Camilleri, Jamie Churches, Sri Thanadar. And so that rally ended up turning into a whole group. So now we run Downriver for Bodily Autonomy. That's what the group is called. And we are a reproductive health education group. We share education on reproductive health. And we also have worked with a lot of politicians with this group. Kelly has done a roundtable with Gretchen Whitmer and Dana Nessel. We've had a lot of people reach out to us to give them education, and we also have meetings. Our meetings are private. You have to be a part of the group to attend the meetings, but usually we've had like 30 to 50 people show up to these meetings. Um, right now, we're doing work with Michigan Education Justice Coalition. So that's exciting. And this is what kind of got me into that political world. I've always been into the presidential elections and things like that. I couldn't wait till I turned 18 so I could vote. But this is what fully deep dived into this political world. And recently, Jamie Churches called me and told me that a great Wyandotte City Councilwoman was coming off of the board and she is not rerunning this election. So she said, "Will you run?" And I said, yeah, I would love to run. So I am now running for Wyandotte City Council. So that's super exciting. And uh, it's just been such a great, just learning all everything that comes with council is just amazing, honestly. I wasn't on student council or anything like that.
Our stuff wasn't quite as serious. When are their elections? Are they May elections or are they next this coming fall?
So our election is May 6th. Yeah.
May
So
6th. Okay.
I'm pretty sure absentee voting is mid-April, and May 6th will be the election.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Yeah, again, the value and whatever your political thoughts may be, as we tend to be here on Pass the Mic, we sort of where we are, but being passionate about something and it's something happening in your life, and then using it as both a like you said, a peaceful protest method, but also an informative to inform people in the area. And again, to me, and people can take what it is from when you use the term reproductive health. There's a lot to reproductive health. That's
Yeah,
not
it's
just
a
one certain thing.
huge,
It's a
yeah.
spectrum that every person that has a female in their life should be thinking about. I mean, Mike has mentioned he has two daughters. I have a daughter right now that is 20 years old. That this stuff's important for. And I appreciate your work. And
Thank you.
again, it's something that you're providing a service for the people that want it. And I'm sure you get people that come to you from all over the political spectrum in a way that come to this group because maybe they
Yeah.
can't talk about it at home. They can't discuss this with other people they know.
Yeah, and we try to stay nonpartisan in our group. It gets hard. Come on, like I mean,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
definitely gets hard. But this is for everybody. This is something that everybody needs to hear about. This isn't just one specific group. This has to do with everyone. So we love to get the word out. We go to street fairs and we'll talk at street fairs this summer and have a little bit more information on what we do and who we are.
And
Mhm.
I think, and it almost goes back to what we talked about before this, when you talked about, you know, interacting and talking with people at work, if you're having mental health issues or us as staff members evaluating not realizing what people are going through. I think it's very easy to say how you may believe about a certain position regarding reproductive health when it isn't attached to you. But all of a sudden, if something happens to someone, everything that you said and thought could become very different in a
Yeah.
blink of an eye. And that's how I live my life with most things. That's how, and I think Mike and I are both the same way. That's why I never sort of want to get into this painted in corner of like, nope, that's not for me. Because until you realize how it can impact someone you know or love or care about, I would rather have those options available because I don't know what could come down the road one day. And I appreciate your hard work and your the passion that have brought you into things. And again, this is when I taught a leadership skills class in the past few years since you have left. And one of the units I do is that you can run for office, because I think too many people when they're in high school they think student council, and that running for an office is this thing that's above them. Leadership
Yeah.
is above them. It's some 65-year-old white guy in Washington, D.C. That's what leadership is, or even at the local level. And we've been fortunate in this state to have a lot of female leaders that are younger even, and we were lucky too. Remember when Darren was our rep, Mike, he was like in his low 20s, like mid
Yeah.
20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the norm. And so I would tell my kids, I go, you only have to be 18 to be on to sit on a school board. And depending on the city and local township or city, some cities are 18, if not
Yeah.
21. So young people need to run for office. That from the top office in the land all the way down. I mean, our generation, the book I read, Generation X, we missed it. We
did.
really missed it. We never had a president that was Generation X.
Nope.
And we're underrepresented. We're underrepresented in the Senate, the House, everywhere. And now, just because we're just Generation X, we don't. We just didn't care.
Yeah,
It was a
probably.
combination of not caring, I think, but also like we were like, oh, the baby boomers were above us. They were so big, and we're like, they're in charge. Like that's who it is. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, some of them are still.
They are still in
Yeah.
charge.
Yeah.
Um, I just want to say, the other part, it just struck me. Like one part it makes me wonder, what are you 28, 29 right now?
29. Yeah.
29. What could the 29-year-old Adriana tell the 16-year-old, 15-year-old, what advice? That's the
Oh,
first one.
great
But man,
question.
and you can
Holy
answer
cow,
that if you
Larry
want,
King
but
here.
yeah, if you want to answer that, I'd be interested to hear. But the other part is just, man, what a story. Like, I just, you stop and think about that. Like Mike mentioned, at 19, like I said, my biggest concern, Jokers or Bentleys in Canada. And that was it. And you're
What was
a
I getting in the dining
businessman.
hall at Eastern? Like, what am
Right.
I?
Like
Yeah.
this is such a cool, neat story. Do you have an answer for that question? I
I
was
mean,
sort of saying rhetorically, but
don't get me wrong. Like I've learned so much. And when I was 20, I was like having fun and having fun with my friends, but I was also very serious. So I think that I would just tell myself that this is gonna be great. This life is gonna be amazing. And I just felt when I was 17, like I knew it all. I had it all. I knew everything. And what I've learned is I didn't know anything at all.
yep.
Like that I didn't know anything. And so many things, so many beautiful things happen as you progress and as you grow. And just keep going forward. Just keep walking with your head held high. And if somebody tells you you can't do it, you probably can.
Great. That's a great answer. That's
Yeah.
What a story. What a story.
excellent. Excellent. Well, I
Yeah.
hate to go from something
Awkward
so,
transition. Here we
but
go.
that's all right. It's a great story though. It's a great
It
story,
is.
but you can't get
Oh,
up and work.
you know
Oh,
what
go
though?
ahead.
I do want to say something.
Okay, no.
Another thing that's really helped me in my life, I started going to the gym when I was 20 years old, and I
Okay.
go 5 days a week. I'm very serious about it. And if you
Nice.
can start in the gym as a teenager, do it because
There you go.
if I started at 17, my life would have even been different. That really changed my life. And I also go to Raise the Bar. So, Ren Dog.
Oh, there we go. Rennie is gonna be
Oh
Rennie is
my
like a
God.
A shout out
we
to
got
Ren
Ken,
Dog.
Ken Sakura and the Ren Dog. Holy cow. It's all about routine. Trust me, I haven't walked the
Yeah, it
last two
is.
days
It's
because of
all
this
about
weather and it's
routine.
killing me. I'm like dying.
Hmm.
I'm going tomorrow morning though for sure. But great, excellent. All right. But
Right.
again, transitioning, great story. What a great story. We're gonna move you can't start your day at the gym until you have some breakfast. Probably not the best thing to eat. I see all these TikToks how you shouldn't eat breakfast cereal at all. There's no good ones at all. That's why I just stick with plain oatmeal, which sometimes they say even that's not that great. But all right, overrated, underrated though. Breakfast cereal. We're going to start with you, Mike. What is your overrated breakfast cereal?
Okay, so we're kicking it back old school with this one. When I was growing up before the Bulls finally overcame the Pistons, Michael Jordan was really repping Wheaties. You better eat the Wheaties. And like I always
Are,
thought if I ate the Wheaties, I'd jump and fly like Michael Jordan. It never happened. So I'm going Wheaties is my
are
overrated.
those still? Are they even? Is that still a thing?
Man.
Are
I
they
think it's
still
still
around?
there. I don't even notice it, but they wasn't any good though. They weren't any good, and I
I think
didn't
that's
get
a
bigger,
great. I think that's a
stronger.
great choice. Definitely overrated.
Yeah.
It was hyped by corporate America.
Yeah, and I mean the Pistons when they won the title in '89, I had the Wheaties box for a long time,
Well,
and
yeah,
then I had
that's
the
right. The sports team. I had a
Barry
Penguins
Sanders
box.
Wheaties box, and I gave it
Yeah.
to a girlfriend that liked Barry Sanders. I don't even know what ended up happening to him. She offered it back. I'm like, no, and to this time, I'm like, why did I take it back? So yeah, that's my overrated.
Was that like a varsity jacket and Taylor or something? But Wheaties box?
I don't even know what you're getting at with this joke, but
Well,
that's
you used to
inappropriate.
like sometimes you'd give your date like your varsity. They'd wear your varsity
You're
jacket.
offending half the listening audience here. You realize that, right? With your Taylor joke.
I didn't know if it was a Wheaties box or that was the or a box of cereal. I apologize to our Taylor listeners. Hoover is the loser. All right.
Hoover's a loser. There you go.
What's your overrated breakfast?
Um, Fruit Loops.
That's that I can go with that too.
Yeah.
I'm not into
Is that
Fruit Loops.
yeah, and not that good. I think it rode the bird. That was the isn't that the one with the toucan?
Yeah, yeah, it is the
Toucan Sam.
toucan.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. Yeah, toucan
That's
Sam.
the cereal itself wasn't that great.
I agree. How do you screw up sugar? They found a way to screw up sugar. It's like pure sugar that doesn't taste
It's
good.
horrible, and
Awful.
people
I
love
agree.
it though. I feel like
They
people love it.
they do.
Hmm.
Mine's probably gonna ruffle some feathers. You like the bird joke. This was like a big favorite too, but I think that it really all it was a cornflake with sugar on it was Frosted Flakes. They get really soggy and gross within 15, 20 seconds, and it's just a cornflake with sugar on it. Overrated. There's so many better cereals. Frosted Flakes overrated. Easy.
Man, you
I
just
don't
made
know.
Battle Creek. Now you Taylor, now Battle Creek. You're
I
pissing
kind of
everybody off
like
there.
Frosted Flakes.
Oh, you got to eat
This
them
guy.
quick.
You
I
You got to eat
gotta
like
them
when they're
quick.
soggy. I don't
Oh,
know.
Oh,
really?
oh
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Oh boy. Well, there we go. Sorry about
Great.
that. Overrated does not mean.
Overrated doesn't mean bad. That's right.
All right. What's your underrated, Mike?
Now, question, Adriana, do you like Fruity Pebbles when they get soggy?
Love it.
Oh,
Really?
I do
So the
those.
soggy,
Love
Yeah, I like
them.
those.
really?
For some reason, I like
Fruity
those.
Pebbles,
Maybe it's the
Cocoa
size.
Pebbles. I love frosted mini wheats when they get soggy. I don't know. I
Well,
guess I like soggy cereal.
I'm going with two. The first, there's oh my God, I think it's called Mom's cereal, if I'm not mistaken. And there was these like their version of Lucky Charms. That's my first, a very good
Oh,
brown
like
box.
generic Lucky Charms?
No, they're not generic. It's more organic, which means it's just
Healthy Lucky Charms.
cane sugar as opposed to the high fructose stuff. But that's my first thing. And then but now there's a new Life cereal, and I've always
Mikey.
had this. I've always had Mikey likes. Yeah, he should have been. Oh my God, how have we
He
not made
hasn't
him
been a
a?
Mike yet.
He hasn't been. So anyway, but this new vanilla. I've always had this fantasy of opening up my own store, being a business owner too, like you, Adriana. But mine is a vanilla store, everything vanilla. A Vanilla Life just came out, and it's so good. And so I'm letting it's new. If you're a cereal person and you like vanilla at all, Vanilla Life is for you. So that's my underrated.
All right.
Okay.
All right,
I can see
Adriana, what
that.
about you? Underrated.
So I don't know, I don't eat cereal very often, but I love Reese's Puffs.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a
I
good one.
When I first had those, I think I had like four bowls of it because it was so good.
That's a good one. As a
Eh,
peanut butter fan, that's
The peanut butter chocolate flavor.
yep.
Hmm.
I was on a kick where like that would be like cereal would be my late night snack. Like it wouldn't even be a breakfast food for me. I'd have them either, and it would be like all the bad ones. And then I started seeing the stuff that they're all bad. Even the ones that they say are good are bad. You shouldn't be. They're all sugar. Even the ones that even other than what like plain Cheerios probably, which gross. Um, my underrated, and again, this is one that like on the box it says a heart healthy food, but I know it's loaded with sugar. It's Raisin Bran Crunch. It has like the little crunch granola pieces in it, and better than regular Raisin Bran. I think it's underrated. It's going to act like it's good for you, but deep down, I know it's not good for you. But it's still delicious, and I've had a bowl the last couple nights. But cereal's so expensive now. Thanks, Uncle Joe. Is it his fault? I don't know. Can we still blame?
Gotta be. It's still his fault. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, I can't like it has to be on sale. I was talking to Rocky Georgie about this. Like some of these things, if it's not on sale, I just go without. And that's the way it's been for the Raisin Bran Crunch. But it was just on sale a couple weeks ago, so I snagged 2 boxes.
It
So
was on sale because it's not very good.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
wish
I can't get with it.
I wish that was the case, but if Kellogg's is not discounting it that much. So
I'm
I
just
know we're going to
kidding.
get some feedback this from our guests. I'd love to hear what the cereals. I'm I didn't want to, to me, like the big ones, Lucky Charms. You mentioned Fruity Pebbles. I think
Yeah.
a big one, a fan favorite that people seem to love is Cinnamon Toast Crunch too. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah.
That's a
Can we just Mike, let's explain how this subject came up. We were trying to come up with an overrated, underrated topic this week,
yes,
and you suggested we started with St. Patty's Day. I'll let you run from there.
yeah. And I thought we did it. We do have a little research team, which is
Yeah.
basically a Google sheet that every week I update it and type all the stuff we do. It's no, we are not employing anybody, Dr. Rice. It's
No, no,
me
no,
typing it on a Google sheet from my own Google account, not the school's Google account.
no. Okay.
And I'm like, let's do St. Patrick's Day. It's going to tie right into the time. Well, we did the St. Patrick's Day. And then I'm like, somehow I connected it to Lucky Charms,
Lucky Charms.
which got us to
So,
breakfast cereal.
yeah, yeah, there we go.
So, the normal connection.
That
So
makes sense.
it totally
That's a
makes
real
sense. So,
connection. Yeah.
and plus it's, low key, no stress. I know the Mike's buddies, the Taylor group do not like all my food uh interactions, but it is what it is. So,
Yeah.
all right. Hot Mike take. Mike, what do you got?
So I sort of previewed this last week because we were talking about vacation spots and everything, and I just as we were talking, I almost changed last week's topic, my hot mic, but I just thought I'd save it for this week. So, I just I want a listener to give me their snapshot in time, whether it's on a vacation or whatever. So last year, when we were in Italy with the group, and I was sitting and I walked off with Natalia and her friend Nora, and I stopped at a bar. And it was just by myself with those two, and I ended up sitting down outside and having a Stella, and I'm not even a big Stella fan. That's a
You were
beer,
in
by the way.
Europe, so win
It
in
was in
Rome.
Europe, yeah, and it was the best tasting beer I think I've ever had. And I'm sitting out, and the song "Stairway to Heaven" by Led Zeppelin's playing, and I've never been a Led Zeppelin fan
In Italy.
in Italy. And man, if I could just tell you like a snapshot in time, if I could take a moment, how free and how awesome it felt. I'm like, I'm sitting here in Rome with my daughter. I'm having an awesome beer, and I'm hearing a song that I didn't like before, and I absolutely love it now. And so I want the listener, give me your snapshot in time like that. It was like you cannot. It was such a perfect moment outside of the obvious. Your kids are born, you graduate high school, graduate college. You married, whatever. Like, what is your snapshot moment in time that is not one of those moments that everybody kind of thinks of? That's mine. It was awesome. So I'd love to know. I don't know if you guys have one where you could think of off the top of your head, but it was such a free. Now, of course, Natalia started complaining about something and somebody, and she had to ruin them up. But and now when I hear the song, it kind of takes me back. It's just a neat moment, and I will never forget how I felt. It was perfect. So that's my hot mic moment topic.
Okay.
I
That's
have
a good one.
one. I have one, and I still think about it to this day. Many years ago, we did a trip to Hawaii, Maui, and there's a dormant volcano, Mount Haleakala, that if you get up early enough, you can go watch the sunrise above the clouds and over the mountain. And being the dork that I am, I bought this book, which people have borrowed from me that have gone to Maui, and they swear by it. It's basically written by two locals about sort of these secrets to Maui, which I guess if it's in a book, it can't be that secret. But I don't think many people read these books. Everyone wants to use the internet.
Sure.
And it's in the book, it said, hey, bring your flashlight. Because when you get there, it's dark. Bring your flashlight. And when you get there, everyone's going to go to this one spot that's like the designated lookout. But bring your flashlight, and there's this path that you'll be by yourself. There'll only be like a couple people there. And so we did it. And honestly, the only other person that was up in this path, and we sort of surprised him, was a tour guide that brought all these other people that were down here. And so it was me, my wife, and the kids. And I still say I've never felt more at peace because there was nobody else really around us watching the
Yeah,
sun rise up. And it's still the background picture on this computer I'm recording on right now. My two kids in front of
really.
me taking pictures. And I just never, and I'm not, I like nature. I like, I did the famous trip out
Sure.
west. But I'm not like that much nature guy. But I've never felt more at peace in my life, like watching that. And it was just an unreal view to be like above the clouds and watch the
That's awesome.
sunrise and also be like bundled up because it's cold, but then the minute the sun comes up, you're not. So that's mine. And I
That's
would love,
cool.
yeah, it was a
I
cool
and
trip.
for me personally, that moment when I hear that song now, I can get a little piece of that moment every time I hear it,
There you go. Or when
and
you
it's
buy
a
a Stella.
long, it's a, when I buy, but that's Stella. I don't think I can replay it because I generally don't
Oh,
like
okay.
Stella, but that song, it's like an 8 minute song, and it
A
just,
long,
it's great.
yeah.
So, yeah,
All right, nice one. I like that. I think we'll get feedback on
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I think I have
Do
a
you,
moment like that too. Yeah.
okay, what is it?
One day I just like kind of woke up and I got in my car and I drove to Pittsburgh and I went to
Out of
this cave, like this random cave. Um, I had to have been like 22 at this point, and I was feeling lonely, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go somewhere. I ended up in Pittsburgh. I got an Airbnb with this random guy that lived in Pittsburgh and stayed there. And I went to this cave like 2 hours away from Pittsburgh and with
yes.
like four other people. I went down in the cave and there was like a moment where this like so I don't know if you guys have been in a cave like this. It's like super dark and
Yes.
there was a waterfall in the cave and there was just light randomly and you couldn't even see where the light was coming from. It was so far down and I was able to like drink the water.
Oh,
Whoa,
And I can just like specifically, I can remember the taste of the water because it was such like an awesome moment of my life. And I was like, wow, this is like freedom. This is
yeah.
life.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are the
So,
best things. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think we could end up with a Pittsburgh plug in this
Right,
episode.
right. You got the hat on and everything.
This
Wow.
episode's
I
taking us
can't even
everywhere.
tell you what this cave was called. I don't even
I know
remember.
I know back where my dad grew up because he actually it's equivalent to us in Detroit. He grew up in a little town outside of Steel Mill Town, but there was a
Okay.
cave attraction which would have been out of the city, and I think there's multiple because it's an old mine. And we did it. We'd see the sign every trip, and like my dad finally gave in. He's like, "All right, we'll go to these caves," and we went to it. I
Yeah.
forget something cavern, and I can't tell you if it's the same one, but it was not it's not downtown Pittsburgh. There's a Liberty tubes that
Yeah.
go through the mountain to get to the city, but very cool. Do you have a hot
Can I
mic take for us?
can I
Oh,
just
I'm sorry.
real quick? You know why that's so cool? Like I think of myself and I admire people like you that can just do those things. I can't even pick up and when you have kids, obviously, and you know this now, things change and you can't do those things
Yeah.
to begin with. But
Hmm.
even if I could, like even I've read about, well, can I drive to Allen Park to go to Barnes and Noble because it'll take 2 hours. Like you just did that. Like I admire people that can do those things you're living. And it makes me think of the song by One Republic, I Lived, like just experiencing those things. That's awesome. That's a really cool
There
story.
is a kind of funny joke. Like I won't decide on going to anything until I know the parking
Yeah,
situation.
right, right.
Like I
Right.
like I don't want to. Although the apps make things very nice now, I will say that. Like you can set your parking and
Yep.
but Mike, like I'm getting to the point where that stuff can happen now. I got mine, and you're
True.
going to
You're
be
right.
there in a few years, and you can do that stuff in a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I will, but
No,
I
you are. We're
admire
going to
people
do
that
it.
do. Okay. All
We're
right.
going to fire up, and we're just going to hit the road. We'll,
We'll
we'll
do a
take
pass
pass
the
the mic on
mic.
the road.
Yeah, we'll take it. We'll
Pass
take
the
it to
mic
the
on the road.
road.
We'll be like John Steinbeck, traveled with Charlie.
Right.
Me and my husband just picked up one day and like went somewhere random before we started dating again. And we were both like kind of down. We both had just got dumped.
Oh, okay.
And we are like, let's go to Nashville.
Well, there
Like,
you go.
and we just went to Nashville together, had the best weekend ever, and came
There
back
you go.
home.
See,
And still
that's
didn't
what.
date.
All right. Do you have a hot mic take for us this week?
I don't I don't know. I was actually thinking about social media lately and like how much I hate Facebook. And
Okay.
when TikTok was banned, I was kicked out because when TikTok was banned, it was the same night that the Lions lost the playoffs,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
I was sick about it. Okay, I have put my heart and soul into these Lions lately, and I was so upset. And then I went onto TikTok to just release my energy and to feel better, and it was like, this is not
Gone.
allowed in
Yeah.
the United
Yeah.
States. Thank you to your president. And I was like, great. So I was like, I'm deleting this. And I
Oh,
deleted it. And then I couldn't get it back the next day
I
when it
hear it's
was
back in the
unbanned.
stores.
So recently I was on Facebook and I was like, man, everybody's so negative. Everybody's so political and mean on here. And so I was like, I'm gonna re-download TikTok finally. I found out, my friend texted me, she was like, re-download it. And I was like, actually, I'm just gonna take a break from it. I re-downloaded it and I was like, wow, everybody's so beautiful on here. It's so nice.
So, see, Mike, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's just a ray of sunshine on TikTok.
And the good thing
So
about TikTok is if you get the occasional one that slides through that beats the algorithm, you just got to hold down on it, say not interested, and then it disappears and the algorithm
yeah.
resets. It's a great little tool. So
Mhm.
hopefully people aren't doing that to the concession stand guru,
Yeah. So
Mike.
if you're feeling like down on Facebook, definitely check out TikTok because you'll
Excellent.
feel way happier.
We're gonna get my partner on there.
I'll take
He's
your
on
word
there.
for it.
He's just a consumer. He's not a producer.
I'm on there because my daughter created an account for me. I don't do anything with it.
We'll get him. We'll get him. We'll get. Maybe we need to pass the mic TikTok when we go on our road trip.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
All right, my hot mic take. We're recording this on Thursday. It is the Lenten season, Mike Gerasi. You know what that means?
I
Other than
do.
eating punchkis
I
on
don't know
Tuesday.
I don't know where you're going with this, but I know what I
Well,
mean.
I know what I'm going with. So I am. The Ren Dog probably already knows. He already declared what I'm giving. He already declared. So I first of all, I went to Taco Bell for my last. I'm not a punchki guy, but I'm giving up fast food for Lent, and I went to Taco Bell Tuesday night. The chili cheese burritos were gone from the Gibraltar Road Taco Bell, and the ultimate betrayal. Speaking of like the Catholic religion, the ultimate betrayal, they're gone. They're still down in Monroe. Thank you, Netto Road and Telegraph. So I had my last meal, my last supper, if you would. Uh, However, my sister is having a birthday party for my nephew tomorrow, um, and she's having it catered with Chipotle. Now, is that fast food? Is the question that I have to the
No,
audience. Okay, I don't think so either. I think I'm okay.
no, it's not fast food. No.
Okay, no
Why
drive-through,
not?
right?
Why
No
not?
drive-through.
Do you know
Is
that
that the definition?
people no drive-through? And also, I know people in the gym who will order it in like large amounts and meal prep with it.
Meal prep. Like it's nobody's
Yeah.
doing that with McDonald's, Mike.
Well,
No,
okay,
no.
here's what AI says. Chipotle is generally considered fast casual dining rather than fast
That's
food.
not
Yes.
fast. Okay,
Very
so AI
good.
has asked and answered. So I think I'm okay. The Ren Dog, I want the Ren Dog's input on this. Here's the other part. This may be TMI. I don't even know if I'm going to eat that much because the joys of becoming an older man. Sunday, I'm prepping for my first colonoscopy on Monday. So I
Oh.
don't know how much Chipotle I want on Saturday. Yeah, trying to
That
keep
is
this
Honestly, just
family
go
TMI.
thin.
just go for it. Who
Yeah, let
I've
cares?
loose.
Yeah. You're gonna have to let loose anyway.
maybe I have to do a TikTok of that.
I did the color guard. That was a lot easier. Do you want me to
No, this is
explain
the
that
real
one?
deal. This is the
Yeah, I
real deal.
know.
I
Well,
got
this is like
the
90 something percent accurate. So
well, when you turn 50, I think you got to start doing the real stuff.
yeah, that's
Happy
just it.
birthday.
Sounds
Well,
great.
well, on that note, I think we've reached the end. Again, what a great story. And again, I hope adults that listen to this, I hope that kids that listen to this take so much out of it because again, I think there's a lot to it. There's the work ethic, everything that you went through, your honesty with your struggles as a senior and dropping out, and it's great
Yeah.
to hear the stories of somebody that struggled in school but worked and now look at you. You're a successful businesswoman.
Yeah.
You're involved in politics. You're a candidate for city council.
Can I let me just do you want to put what's the name of you said you're
Yeah,
relocating. What's the name? We got tens of listeners, so what's
yeah.
the name of
Plug
your
plug the salon, the nail salon. It's prom season's
It's
coming up.
it's Lucy's
yeah.
Beauty Boutique still. Yeah. And we're
Okay.
a full service salon. We do nails, we do hair, and we have aesthetic services. And we have amazing people that work there. I love these girls so much, and I would do anything for them. They're all my best friends.
And
So
you're doing
Hey, the prom
a
the
yeah.
prom is right in Wyandotte
yeah,
too.
well your
Like
grand
works
Yeah.
out.
your what's your grand opening date?
So I'm not going to do a grand opening until the summer.
Oh,
Okay.
But we should be opening by the end of March, but I'm not going to jinx it right now, okay?
Okay. All right.
Because we had a little problem with the floors coming in, and
So you're
you
still
know,
operating out of Allen Park right now?
we are still operating out of Allen Park, yes.
So go grab breakfast at the Glass Onion and
Yeah,
get
yeah.
a little makeover at the same point. So
and then
Yeah.
is the dollar store still there? Dollar movie theater. I'm sorry, not dollar store. Dollar. I'm
No, they
just
tore it
joking. That was
down.
a
Come
joke. I
on.
know. I
Don't
know. I
even
know.
bring it
that's
up.
that's
It
for
could
the
have been a parking lot or something. It's just a
now you
lot now.
I got the Taylor people mad. Now you got the Allen Park people mad. So
Yeah.
good work out of us.
Yeah.
But no, what a great episode. Also, good luck in your election in May. Everyone in Wyandotte, make sure you get out and vote early, vote often, as us Democrat or as Democrats say, not us Democrats. Um, good luck. And you were a great guest. Thank you for sharing your story and being so honest and open
Open
about
and
your
candid.
path.
Yeah.
What a great story. What a great story.
Thanks. Thank you so
All right.
much. I appreciate you
All right,
guys
everybody.
having me here.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a great week. We will see you next week.